And hello, Pat Zemer here with Magna Wave for the afternoon edition of the Magna Wave office hours for this Tuesday, September the 19th, 2017. Glad to be here. We had a great program this morning answering questions from practitioners and other individuals dealing with Magna Wave devices, services, protocols, guidelines, the whole 9 yards. It seems like our viewership is increasing. We're glad to be here, and we're glad that you're here with us today. So if you have any questions, please present them to us at this time, and I'd be happy to answer them for you, whether it's about the company, the devices, the training, the services, anything it may be, PEMF in general, how it works, what it does, anything like that. We'd be happy to answer those questions for you. As a little bit of office cleaning here, I need to let you know that we did a webinar last week with Dr. Nye, and we had a very good turnout for that webinar, and it went well, but we had a technical glitch, and the replay didn't show up, and we weren't able to download it. And the webinar host is working on that now. Hopefully they'll be able to retrieve the webinar so we can make it available to everyone on the Facebook page so everyone can see it and learn from it. We covered a lot of stuff about integrative medicine, but if it's not available, Dr. Nye has agreed that he'll come back with us, and we'll do the webinar again, and we'll approach some other topics during the webinar at that time. So we'll know shortly. I should probably know today. I've been talking back and forth with the provider as to what's going on with that particular webinar. So, hi Mandy. Mandy's with us. We have some other folks joining us at this point in time. So again, if you have any questions, let us know. If some of those of you who have joined us are practitioners, I asked this morning, what kind of questions do you get asked the most? Those are the questions that people may be wanting to ask, and those watching or who will watch this later on Facebook may see the questions that they're interested in being asked, and so they maybe won't have to ask them. But at any rate, so if you're a practitioner, please let me know what particular questions you get asked the most. I've got some here that I've received over the morning from other folks who emailed them to me, and I'll be certainly getting into those questions as we go. But got a question here from Mandy. Let me take a look at here. How do you address explaining to a client the different ways that each practitioner approaches a treatment session? The question she asked specifically was, why such a different length of full body treatment time? Well, that's an excellent question, Mandy. And I may ask you again, can you tell me what your average treatment time is for a body? But I can give the very, very definite answer to that. What happens is, how long does it take to treat a horse? And that's what we're talking about here. Same question could be asked, how long does it take to treat a person? And with various indications and conditions that they may be addressing or have. So when I started and I was treating horses for an average of 20 to, I might get to 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, and most of that time was spent on the upper body of the horse. I would certainly always ask the owner or the trainer of the horse, are there any foot issues, any knee issues, leg issues that we need to address? And they would tell me, he's got a hock issue on the left side, I think. So I'd treat the hock. Or he's got this knee thing. We'd treat the knee. But if the horse was okay in its legs, and they're riding the horse, they're knowing what's going on and participating with this particular animal, and so we would treat the upper body. Now, what happens when we do a treatment or we provide a session of Magna Wave PEMF services? What happens is we're allowing the blood cells to become healthier. We're allowing the blood cells to come to a condition more permeable in the cellular membrane so they can better utilize and uptake, they call it uptake, have a better uptake of the oxygen in the body available to them through the lungs and through the where the oxygenation occurs. And so the blood takes on more oxygenation and it helps. And so most of the time they'll have hip issues or sacral or they're sore in the neck or whatever. But if we treat the whole upper body of the animal, and the legs and the feet and all that are okay, where is that good oxygenated blood going to go? It's going to go to the legs. Or in our case, it would go to the arms and the hands. So what we do is we treat the overall body so we can get good blood oxygenation. So that blood will go to all extremities of the body over the next 8, 10, 12, 15 hours or longer and enhance those areas, basically treating the legs by treating the upper body. Now, so what happens is people, they begin their business or they begin treating animals and they treat the upper body of the horse and they decide, I want to also go ahead and treat the knees and treat the legs and treat the feet of the horse. That oxygenated blood's already going to go there, but they want to do that and they get into a routine that they're treating the entire body and the legs of the horse. Is that bad? Absolutely not. Is it necessary in every case? No. But people, that's what they want to do. That's the routine that they follow, and they provide sessions accordingly. Makes it difficult for others who are providing, let's say, 30-minute sessions as a rule. And so then someone says, well, you're not spending as much time. Well, the fact is it's not necessary to spend an hour on every horse. It is necessary to treat the specific areas that are a problem. You could treat a horse. In fact, when the economy went south in 2009, if you remember, it was a bad time. And we thought, oh my gosh, we're going to be out of business. I mean, it's just going to kill us. But what happened, what we did was we'd go to folks and we'd say, okay, we'll do the front part of the horse for $35, $45. We'll do the upper part of the back and so forth for $35, $45. Or we'll do the rear end, the glutes and the sacrum and all that for $35, $45. And so they'd say, treat the front of this horse, treat the back of that horse, and do those kind of same kind of services. And so basically we'd spend 10 minutes on the front of this horse, 10 minutes on the back of that horse, and we'd do the top line and neck on the next horse. Bingo. We'd end up with our daily hourly rate that we wanted, and we would have treated 3 or 4 horses. Now, that worked. It works to treat sections. You can treat someone's elbow and it'll feel better. You can treat someone's low back and it'll feel better. But if you treat their whole body in the process, that area that you treated is going to continue to be nourished and reinforced for several hours. So that's where the full body aspect comes from. Treat the area of indication and then treat the full body to nourish, to give energy supplementation to the entire body. So, Mandy, it's a tough question because a lot of people they get excited and they go out and they love what they're doing and they love their animals and they spend an hour, maybe an hour and a half or an hour and 15 minutes treating these animals, and people become accustomed to that. And in reality, it doesn't have to be done. If it were done like a lot of businesses where you charge by the minute or the quarter hour or whatever it is, people would be asking, now, wait a minute, do you have to treat the whole horse? Or do I have to pay for an hour and a half? Or can I get it done in a half an hour? But that is the reality of the situation. And you just need to tell people the truth. It's not necessary I'm not saying that people aren't telling the truth, but it's just not necessary to treat the entire horse every time you do it, or the entire person. You can treat their knee and treat it very well, and then put the paddle on, or put the coil on their shoulders or their low back for a few minutes to re-energize all the blood in the body. I can show you the video that I played this morning, and perhaps we'll do that in a few minutes, that shows how the blood in the body can be energized totally after just a 15-minute session, because the blood circulates very quickly through the human body, quickly through the horse body as well, but it's a bigger mass, so it takes a little longer. But it's just, you just need to educate folks on what it is and what's necessary. And some people feel that by treating longer, they're justifying their price that they're trying to charge or what they're doing for their services. And what I've always maintained is treat appropriately, treat effectively, and then provide reporting, provide descriptions, show them what's going on. Ask them, are there any other issues with the horse that we need to address, or the dog that we need to address, or you, sir, you got a headache, we treated you here for your headache, let's go ahead and treat your feet. We learned that treating the feet after treating someone's head for a headache is incredibly effective because of the reflexology things, processes that take place. So, Mandy, it's a great question. It's a tough one because people do other things and they treat other ways, but it is not necessary. And I would simply just put it on the table. This is what it is, and it's not necessary. But I will tell you, I tell practitioners all the time, it's easier to give time than it is to take time away. It's just so much easier to do that. I'm not saying by any stretch that you want to try to do this in 20 minutes and run and be done. That's not the case, and I never did that. I would treat as long as it was necessary to treat a given client. But the standard treatment is this, and then we go from there. So I hope that helps, Mandy. If you have additional questions to that, please let me know. I know it's a struggle. I know it's a challenge because you have people doing different treatment times. If you find yourself in an area that people have done that, in essence, you're somewhat bound or stuck in what people have done. The best thing is education. What I always say is, if you got a question about something like that, give me a call, put me on the phone with the folks, and let me explain what's going on. Because in reality, they're probably going to want more horses treated anyway. Where people fall into a problem with that is that they get into treating for an hour and then they find out they've got 12 horses to treat or so many horses to treat, they can't get them all done. Or they get exhausted, which I can talk about personally, and so it becomes a challenge. So somebody may want more services when they realize that they can get the same service in a shorter period of time, and then thereby take care of more of their clients. Hope that helps, Mandy. Great question, and it's a question that comes up a lot. Looks like we got a little freeze up there in our. Oh, we're good. It's come back properly. So let's see. Next question. Mandy Frazier, 20-30 minutes for full body and less addressing extra points such as hock, knees, etc. That is correct. You've got it, and that works fine. Lisa asked a question. I am correct in remembering that pregnant mares cannot be Magna waved at all. Well, anybody will, if you go to a veterinarian and you say, can I do this with my mare? And with regard to Magna Wave, or actually many other modalities that are out there, many other therapy devices that are out there, and typically most things are contraindicated when it comes to treating pregnant mares. Now, with that said, there have been situations where all of a sudden the pregnant mare is going to founder and we need to treat the feet, or we need to treat the front shoulders and the legs in order to get this mare being healthy, or the doc needs to treat these areas. Will they treat them? Will they do it? Yes. Should you talk to the veterinarian about doing that? Probably so. It's recommended. But, we always want to be balanced in what we're doing. So as a rule, pregnant mares are contraindicated. You certainly don't want to be treating with our type of device over the pregnancy or over the foal to where you could potentially move it, because our device does have organ moving and flexation that occurs. We don't want to be involved in that. And the other reason that it's quite often contraindicated is because, God forbid, something happened to that mare and you just treated the horse for very sore glutes or hocks or something the day before, and someone says, well, I wonder if that had something to do with it. There are discussions all the time about growth platelets and development of cells and that type of thing, and there have been some discussions. I can't say that there's been any studies that I'm aware of, but you certainly want to err on the side of safety in that regard. So that's what you need to keep in mind. But as a rule, we say pregnant mares don't treat, but you don't want the pregnant mare to go down either. So, but you always want to work with the veterinarian when that could be the case that you're approaching. I hope that's clear, Lisa. If you'd like me to go further on that, please ask the question as well. And okay. So Shelley Clark says she has to listen to the replay because there's no service in the barn. Well, listen to it on the way home after you're finished, or if you're not hearing it now, you're going to hear it on the way home, then you're enjoying listening to it now as we go along. So, Shelley, it's great that you were trying to get with us today, but you got to have internet to pick us up live as we go. There's a couple of great questions so far, folks, and I really appreciate that. If any of you have any additional questions that we can answer for you, please put them up there, and we'd be happy to do that. Here's a person asks a question: what is hydrowave water, and how does it work in conjunction with Magna Wave? Well, I got a video that I will play for you, a short segment of the video here in a second, dealing with the hydrowave water. But what the water is, and Bill Branson will explain it here in just a moment, maybe a little better than I, but it's a situation to where we have water that the oxygen molecules in the water are bound to nano-sized particles of silver, and the silver will transfer into the bloodstream, and then these little clusters of oxygen will travel through the bloodstream looking for bacterial cells and things like that, and becoming very warlike in protecting your body and helping things. It works internally. It works as a topical. It's been used for many different indications. On our website, under hydrowave water, where it says learn more, if you click that, there is a report, a 25-page report that was put together by Dr. Jane Goldberg, a PhD in New York, who's been using this water for years, and talks about how it's been used, how she's used it in her practice, and how people have used it for many different indications, from common things to tumors and various things that people can experience through their life. So it's there, and you can read about it. Let me pull up this video by Bill Branson, and you can take a look at it. It'll only take a couple minutes to get the gist of what we're talking about here. I'm speaking with Bill Branson, the owner of a company that makes the super oxygenated silver water. Now, Bill, my question is this. A lot of people talk about silver and the healing properties of silver, and I know that that's an important part of your water, but can you tell me where the oxygenation really comes in and how it plays a role in what your water will do?
Yeah, well, see, most water products that has silver in them have no oxygen value whatsoever. And through the process we use, we actually are eliminating hydrogen out. That allows the oxygen to actually attach. It's a covalent bond, actually attached to the silver particles. Nobody else is doing this. And we put a negative charge on that little particle of silver. And that silver will travel in your bloodstream, drawn to parasitic cells that are the opposite charge. They're drawn together like magnets. And people always ask, well, then if you're killing bacteria, then what about our gut flora? Well, it has the same charge. It is a like charge. It's repelled away.
Just like magnets are repelled away.
Exactly. So we don't harm the gut. I've been personally drinking this every day for over 12 years, and I don't get sick. It's just got my immune system as high as it will go.
Can you tell me the difference between the size of your silver molecule as compared to like colloidal silver?
Well, we've had ours measured. It is, of course, not every particle is the same size, but it's between 9 and 30 nanometers. And the place I went to have it measured were quite surprised. In fact, they'd never seen silver that small. Now, colloidal silver, of course, is not going to be that small, and it will actually stick in your fatty tissue in your body, and you can actually build up heavy metals in your body. And most colloidal silver is like 10 parts per million and goes up. And the water I produce is actually below 1 part per million. It's actually measured in parts per billion, and there's no other silver product that's doing that.
So it travels through the body. So there's a little explanation of what the silver water does. And what Magna Wave does with the silver water is it also allows the oxygenation of the body to be improved, allows the body to have a better uptake of its own oxygen that's available to it. So it's basically a double whammy. If someone's using the water and they're using the Magna Wave, we're just really trying to make the body healthy to better fight off whatever it may be that's attacking the body, and in those types of situations. I'll play the full interview at some point, and it's on the Facebook page, Bill Branson and the Hydro Wave Water. It's an excellent interview, and we'll play it again in its entirety at some point. But I just wanted to share, because it was a great question. How does the Magna Wave, what is the Hydro Wave Water, and how does it interact with the Magna Wave? The Magna Wave basically enhances the metabolism of anything that you're doing, enhances the absorption and that whole thing. So we want to, you see, if we can make this cell healthy because it takes on more oxygen with Magna Wave, it allows it to take on more oxygen. Then we got this cluster of oxygen bound silver, and we got both of those moving through the body. As I've said this morning, I'd rather have an army of good, healthy cells fighting for me than I would to have an army that's tired, depleted, and not healthy cells. So that's what we try to do, get the two of them working together. We're big believers in synergy, no matter what it is that you're doing. If we can enhance the things that you're taking, the proteins that are available to your body, if it can enhance that absorption, enhance that metabolism, we think we're in a winning situation. And integrative medicines like Dr. Nye was discussing last week and Dr. Marty talks about a lot, if you can use integrative medicines to enhance the effects of traditional medicine, you really are moving down the road to a very successful, hopefully successful results in what you're looking to do. So that's how the two of them do work together. And again, the report by Dr. Jane Goldberg is on the website under the go to products, supplements, Hydro Wave Water, learn more, and Dr. Goldberg's full report is there for your reading enjoyment and learning availabilities. Okay, another question. Someone has a mom with a pacemaker who has burning feet. Is it dangerous for the pacemaker if we do only the feet? Well, again, in the past, it's always been pacemaker, don't treat. You don't want to do anything. It's not that you're going to set the pacemaker off or make it do something, but there have been fears that you could deplete the power source or deplete the battery life of the pacemaker and cause it to then maybe not be viable for its necessary usage. As time has progressed, there have been pacemakers. They've certainly increased and improved the technology and the manufacture of these devices. And we've had doctors where patients and clients have gone and asked, I'm going to have this PEMF treatment and I have this pacemaker, can I have this done? And they've talked about if you're using a digital machine like the Simi or the Maya and you're not doing real high settings or that type of thing, as long as you're a foot away, then some docs have allowed that. Some pacemaker manufacturers have addressed that situation. And certainly to treat somebody's feet, and their pacemakers right up here and their feet can be 3 or 4 feet away, it's the kind of situation that you want to clear with a doctor. You want to make sure that you're doing things appropriately, but that's something that could be possible today with folks that have pacemakers, defibrillators, or devices like that implanted in their body. So it's just that type of situation. You certainly want to always check and make sure that everything is correct and okay before you're doing something. But certainly it's the electrical aspect of our device with the pacemaker. You don't want to do anything to interfere with the operation of the pacemaker. That's given a good question. We were asked yesterday, a person has a shunt in their skull or in their brain to drain off excess fluid, and they wanted to know if they have headaches, they have severe headaches, and they wanted to know, could we treat the person with the shunt around their headache? And because they were told if they were to have an MRI, they'd have to have someone there, some type of special person to reprogram and reestablish the settings on this particular shunt, because obviously it's working when their pressure's there, it releases, and it works in that type of situation. And so our conclusion, after thinking about it, is you probably would not want to treat the area of the head where this is at. However, with folks with headaches, we've had wonderful results treating their feet because of the nature of the reflexology and how things appear and work in that type of situation. So again, you need to you need to ask your people. We have a whole checklist of things that you should ask before you treat a client, and things if you're a client, if you're someone who wants to know, can I do this? You want to tell people what you've got. Yes, I have a pacemaker. Yes, I have a shunt. Yes, I have a stent in my heart. A stent will just keep things to the proper size so the blood flows smoothly, and you want to make sure that's okay, but they've not caused any real issues because they're not programmed to do something like a shunt may be. So you want to ask your clients questions, and if you're a client, you want to tell your person that you're dealing with whatever you're doing. Anything, you want to tell folks exactly what you have going on so they can make sure that they do operate within the guidelines that are appropriate for your situation is how we like to think about it. So there is a good question with regard to pacemakers and defibrillators and how they can work. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask them. If you're a practitioner and you're watching and people ask you a question a lot, give me that question and maybe we can present it in a form that will get you a different answer or allow you to provide an answer to the folks so it's presented in a fashion that you're happy with and they're happy with. And I had another question, interested in starting a Magna Wave business, would like to know the comparison on the different machines. We certainly have information about the different machines on the website, so if you'd like to take a look at that. But basically we have a lower powered machine all the way up to our higher powered max machine. They all produce the same wavelength, the same wave type of signal. It's just the strength of the machine is a little different. What does that mean? Two things. When you're using a more powerful machine, rarely does it get turned up all the way. Now, people that are in business treating, let's say, horses or professional athletes, they'll have a tendency to use higher powers more often if they're dealing with an athlete's knee or their low back or their foot or their ankle or their elbow where they may have indications. The higher power gives you a quicker result. If you're dealing with standard individuals and you're treating horses as a regular thing or small animals as a regular thing and you're not really dealing with athletic type of performance, then any of the machines will work appropriately for you from the semi up to the max, and that's basically the difference. So you need to ask yourself, if you're looking to do something as a business, you want to think about where you're going to fit. You want to think about your business plan. Who are you going to be looking for as customers? I have doctors that have come in and they talk about the devices, and they're not treating, they don't have a sports practice, so they're not really treating athletes in that regard. So the smaller device can work just fine for them if they're talking about headaches, low back pain, got an elbow that's bothering me from time to time. They don't mind maybe leaving it on a little longer to work on those indications and situations. So a lower powered machine works very handily in those types of situations. So refer to the website and for total information, or call us or send us an email. We'd be happy to answer any specific questions that you may have with regard to the different devices that are available through Magna Wave. So again, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them for you. I look forward to doing that every Tuesday in the morning and in the afternoon. It seems to be a good day for a lot of folks. The week's just getting started. They're not all geared up towards the end of the week. For those in the performance world, it's a training day. It's a slower day, so they can maybe have some time to come and get some questions that they may have answered at that point in time. So it's always fun. I always enjoy doing it because it teaches me. It forces me to recall things that I've experienced over the years and to be able to share my story or stories that I've experienced. And, when you're talking about being interested as Magna Wave for a business, the number one thing you need to understand is what is your story? How did you get interested? How did you get involved? What it did for you? What you saw that made you become interested? You got to have a passion, and people can recognize that passion, and then will be very happy to become your clients and pay you for the services and the health and wellness situations and aspects that you are providing to them. So it looks kind of light this afternoon with regard to questions. I'd be happy to continue if you have any other questions. I was able to go over the 2 or 3 questions I got this morning after the earlier presentation. This Thursday on the Magna Wave Wellness webinar, we're going to be talking about, because we get asked a lot about, well, what support services are there from Magna Wave when we get involved? What support services, if I'm using this personally, or if I'm using this on my own animals, or if I'm using this as a business? What do you have available to me in the form of support and services with regard to social media and websites and all that type of stuff? So the wellness webinar this week will be about Magna Wave support services that are available to you as an interested practitioner or someone who wants to use this type of device, so you can be as successful as you wish to be in your endeavors. So again, it looks like people are, any other questions? Going once? Going twice? Again, the Doctor and I webinar that we had last Thursday, it looks as though we're probably going to have to redo that. Actually, the week prior to that, we had the webinar on the C60 product that we use from Max Champion Living Longer Labs. Very effective product that you can implement and find some good results with. We had some internet difficulties at his location. He's high up in the mountains in Colorado, and so we're going to redo and extend that particular webinar as well. So it looks like we're about wound up for the day. We've been here about 35 minutes, and we certainly enjoy answering all the questions, but we don't want to belabor the fact people are busy and they got a lot of stuff going on. So I want to take this opportunity of as always, thanking you for being with me, and I always enjoy your questions. If you got a question if you're watching this later and you got a question you'd like to ask, give me a shout. Go to Magna Wave, info@magnawavepemf.com, and shoot us your question, and we'd be happy to answer it. Certainly go to the website in the chat box and post a question there. We'd be happy to answer it for you there and on these Magna Wave hours, open office hours programs. So again, thanks a lot. Have a great day. Bye-bye.